You ever look at your credit report and feel like you need a secret decoder ring? Yeah, you're not alone. But what if I told you that taking back control is way simpler than you think, and it all boils down to one simple thing: a letter. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on credit repair, and trust me, it's not as scary as it looks.
So, have you had that moment, that gut punch feeling when you're scrolling through your credit report and you see something that just isn't right? An account that's not yours, an inquiry you never made. Your first thought is probably, now what? It's a really common problem, and it's definitely stressful.
Now, your instinct might be to reach for the big guns. Call a lawyer, hire some expensive credit repair company, but hold on, because your most powerful weapon, well, it's probably sitting in a drawer somewhere. We're not talking about lawsuits or complicated forms. We're talking about the incredible power of a simple, straightforward letter.
And hey, don't just take it from me. A credit repair company actually ran an experiment on this. They sent out two kinds of letters. One was packed with all this intimidating legal talk. The other, just simple and to the point. And guess which one works better? You got it. The simple letters got way more errors removed. Kind of surprising, right?
So, what is the secret sauce here? Why does a simple letter work so well? Well, it really just comes down to a little bit of psychology. Let's dive into why toning it down is actually your best strategy when you're dealing with the credit bureaus.
Okay, picture this. A person at a credit bureau has a huge pile of mail on their desk. Most of it is from law offices and credit repair companies, full of legal threats. That stuff gets put in a special pile for extra screening. But then, there's your letter. It's simple, it's direct, it looks like it came from a real person, not a company. It gets their attention because it doesn't scream problem. And that's often why it gets handled faster. So the lesson is, always start simple. You can bring out the heavy hitters later if you have to.
All right, enough theory. Let's get practical. Now we're going to take this simple letter strategy and actually apply it to some of the most common and most annoying errors you might find on your credit report.
Okay, here's a classic. You're looking at your report and bam, there's a credit card or a loan inquiry from a place you've never even heard of. This is usually either a simple mix-up or, more seriously, a sign of identity theft. And here is the fix. Look how clean that is. There are no threats, no paragraphs of legal nonsense. It's just, this isn't mine, please remove it. It's clear, it's factual, and it tells them exactly what you want them to do. This is the kind of language that works.
All right, let's tackle another common one. You spot a charge-off on your report, sometimes called a P&L, which is just industry speak for a debt that a creditor has given up on collecting. But here's the thing. You have no idea who this creditor is.
And again, the solution is beautifully simple. You're not getting into a big argument. You're just saying, I don't recognize this. That simple act of pleading ignorance is incredibly powerful because it puts the ball back in their court. They now have to prove it's yours. Okay, so you did everything right. You sent your simple, polite, direct letter, and then you hear crickets. Nothing. This is the point where a lot of people just throw in the towel. But don't you worry, because we've got a game plan for when they go silent. Let's talk about how to follow up. The trick here is to gradually turn up the pressure. Think of it like a volume knob. Your first follow-up is just a friendly nudge. Hey, just checking in. The second one is a little more firm. I'd like to see the results of your investigation, please. It's only on that third reminder that you mention the FCRA, that's the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the federal law that's on your side, and hint at legal action. You're showing them you're serious, one step at a time.
So far, we've been fighting the easy battles, the stuff that's just plain wrong. But what about those tricky situations? You know, the negative marks that are actually correct, but there's a story behind them? Now we're going to get into some more advanced moves for those gray areas.
So think of it this way. A direct dispute? That's a scalpel. You use it to surgically remove something that is factually incorrect. This is not my account. Gone. A consumer statement, though, that's more like a paintbrush. It lets you add context and color to the story. Maybe you got laid off and fell behind on payments. This is your chance to explain that to future lenders. It gives them the why, and that can change everything.
All right, it's time to unleash the most powerful move you have, especially when you're up against a collection agency. This is where you stop defending yourself and you make them do all the work. Let's call this level the final boss.
This right here is a total game changer. It's called validation of debt. The law gives you the right to tell a collection agency, prove it. And not just with a bill. You are demanding they produce proof that you have a legal obligation to pay them. We're talking an original contract with your signature on it. And if they can't produce it, they might not have a legal leg to stand on.
And that leads to this awesome legal idea called estoppel by silence. It sounds complicated, but it's simple.
You know how if you ask someone a question and they refuse to answer, their silence says everything? It's like that. If you demand they validate the debt and they just ignore you, the law can basically say their silence is an admission that your claim is true, that the debt isn't valid. This is your ultimate trump card.
Wow, okay. We've been through a lot. We started with a simple letter and worked our way all the way up to some serious legal leverage. So let's bring it all home and put your complete credit repair toolkit together.
So what are the big takeaways here? Rule number 1, always start simple and non-threatening. Number 2, make sure your letter matches the problem. 3, don't give up, be persistent. 4, when the facts are right but the story is wrong, use a consumer statement to explain. And finally, the big one, know your right to make them prove the debt.
And to make sure you can get started like right now, here's the contact info for the big 3 credit bureaus: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. These are the folks you're going to be sending your letters to. And a pro tip, you might have to contact all 3 because what's on one report might not be on the others.
So, there you have it, the playbook, the tools, the strategies. The power really is in your hands to write your own credit story. It all just starts with that first letter. The only question left is, what's your first move going to be?